Good afternoon. Welcome to the weekly Sports Buzz published on September 5th. I'm Bob Ryan, and here we go with this week's buzz called Hello Goodbye. The month of September is the Hello Goodbye month in the sports world. Summer sports are winding down, while fall sports are just beginning. So take a look. Hello to college football. Talk about excitement of the first weekend between two longtime football powers, Miami versus Notre Dame. It was a thriller of a game. Miami led 24-14 with 9:42 left in the game when Miami kicker Carter Davis put a 38-yard field goal to take advantage of a deflected interception. Notre Dame answered as their redshirt quarterback C.J. Carr led them right back down the field for a field goal. Then the Notre Dame defense stepped up and forced a 3-and-out. That was a big series. Notre Dame kept the momentum rolling when tight end Eli Raridon caught a 65-yard pass. A tight end. Notre Dame scored 2 plays later with 3:21 to go on the clock to tie the game. But it wasn't over. Miami led by transfer quarterback Carson Beck, a transfer from Georgia. His $3 million $4 NIL money changed his mind and converted him to play for Miami. He set up the winning field goal by Carter Davis, a 47-yarder, with just 1:04 left in the game. The final score was Miami 27, Notre Dame 24. What a turnaround for Davis. Last year, he was 2 for 7 in field goal attempts at Florida. It was a great game between two long-time college powerhouses. Now to the next topic. Goodbye to being number one. Ohio State 14, Texas 7. It was really a defensive battle. Texas actually had the best of the statistics game with 336 yards total offense to the Buckeyes' measly 203. Texas quarterback Arch Manning, yes, it's another Manning quarterback on the tube. He had a tough day, to put it mildly. Manning was 0 for 5 on passes 5 or more yards downfield over the first 3 quarters. He also finished with an off-target rate of 37%, by far the worst game in that department by any Texas quarterback over the past decade. One titled it Manning Flopped. Plus, Manning telegraphed one downfield interception with a long windup and nearly telegraphed another. But officials overturned the tip pick. He completed a very modest 17 of 30 passes for the game for a scant 170 yards, a touchdown and an interception. 17 of 30 for further. Most of those yards came in the fourth quarter when his team was down by 2 scores. This was the 4th time the number 1 team in the AP preseason poll has met the previous season's national champion in the opening game of the season. The defending champ has won 3 times. Goodbye to memories. It was the first opening day loss for Alabama in 24 years as they fell to Florida State 31-17. Further, it's only 8 losses on opening day in 55 years. There's a footnote here. I'd rather see these big programs play each other in an opening game and lose than play some cupcake. As a coach, as I was for a long time, you really learn much more about your players against other good teams than in blowouts, where your team totally overmatches the opponent. The loss ended Alabama's streak of 23 consecutive wins in season openers and was their first season opening loss since 2001. Second-year head coach Kalen DeBoer still has the shadow of Nick Saban hovering over him, who piled up 6 national championships. Wow. Hello to another cupcake. Zoo 61. Central Arkansas, 6. Central Arkansas is a BCS school, which formerly was called D2, that finished 6-6 in 2024. So Mizzou opens up against a D2 team that didn't even have a winning record. Enough said about playing totally overmatched teams who are playing for money and not to compete on the field. If you really want to be considered in the highest tier of college football, and we're paying the coach for that type of salary, gets over $9 million a year, please schedule like a top-tier team. Saying goodbye to the football program will be quarterback Sam Horn. Horn walked off the field in crutches. Very sad story. Horn was injured after just one snap. Wouldn't it be tragic to lose your baseball career? And he's highly touted in baseball. He's signed with the Dodgers for one football play. I wish him best of luck in his recovery. Louisiana State University seems to always say hello to a new season by loading up in the early games against terrific non-conference opponents, not cupcakes, terrific opponents. For example, this year, number 9 UCLA plays number 4 Clemson. Playing other top-notch opening games is commonplace for LSU in recent years. 2024, LSU played Southern Cal. 2023 was the Florida State Seminoles in Game 1. 2021 saw LSU versus the UCLA Bruins. Recruiting and aggressive non-league scheduling with good outcomes is how a team reaches the top levels in the rankings. You have to believe that it prepares them for their challenging SEC games down the road. Maybe that's one reason why they're in the top spot in the NCAA ratings. Walt Jocketty is saying hello to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. I must admit I was surprised. I never thought of putting an off-the-field person in the Hall of Fame. Then I was skeptical that he belonged. But I was shocked and amazed at the ball players that Jocketty procured for the Cardinals. Jocketty was a general manager from the Cardinals from 1994 to 2007. So, he was general manager in 1996 when they won the Central Division and defeated San Diego in the National League Division Series, then lost to the Braves in the NL Championship Series. In 2000, Cardinals won the Central Division with an unbelievable 95-67 record. In the NL Division Series, they swept the Atlanta Braves 3-0, but lost the NL Championship Series to the New York Mets 4-1. The next year, 2001, they finished 93-69 in regular season play and secured the National League wild card. They lost the NL Division Series to the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-2. In 2002, they posted another dazzling record, 93-65, while winning the National League Central Division. In the NL Division Series, swept by the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-0, but in the NL Championship Series, lost to the San Francisco Giants 4-1. 2004, again they won the National League Central Division with a record of 105-57. That's 48 games over 500. In the NL Division Series, they beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 3-1. Also won the NL Championship Series as they handled Houston 4-3. But they fell in the World Series as they were swept by the Boston Red Sox 4-0. Finally, in 2006, the Cardinals won the World Series as they beat the Tigers 4-1 in series. Boy, those were the good old days, having those kind of winning teams. It was the first MLB title for the Cardinals since 1982 when they won that 2006 World Series. Jocketty was fired the next year, 2007, when Jeff Luhnow became the second faction in the leadership Cardinal team. There was a back-and-forth struggle between the two teams for several years over the departing actions of Luhnow. I must say, the entire incident was kept relatively quiet to us fans. By the way, the year after the 2006 championship, the Cardinals won a stunningly low total number of wins, a meager 78 wins in 2007. That would be the only sub-500 season until 2023. In 2023, as we all know, Cardinals' new ownership began their new approach, and they posted a horrible 71-91 record. But more importantly, the change in evaluation and leadership and development now seem more based on cost than performance. Jocketty had this success as he procured players through trades. Listen to this list of players that Jocketty procured: Adam Wainwright, Jim Edmonds, Scott Rowland, Mark McGuire, Edgar Renteria, Darryl Kyle, Larry Walker, Woody Williams, Jeff Weaver, Jason Marquis, Rafael Furcal, Joel Pinheiro, Mark Sweeney, Todd Stottlemyre, Dennis Eckersley, the big closer, Fernando Vina, Will Clark, and others who played roles in the winning years of the Cardinals. Say hello to the Cardinals Hall of Fame. There were many notable free agent signings by Jocketty: Chris Carpenter, Jason Isringhausen, Jeff Suppan, David Eckstein, Mike Matheny, later became the manager, Andy Bennis, Tom Henke, Reggie Sanders, Ron Gant, Ryan Franklin, Pat Henchen, Delano DeShields, Julian Tavares, So Taguchi, Scott Spezio, Ryan Ludwig, Gary Gatti, Tony Womack, Mark Grusnelek, Juan Encarnacion, and the late career, the return of Willie McGee. Now, I probably left some guys out, but those names alone tell you the quality of general manager Jocketty was. Wow, even though I thought I thoroughly enjoyed Cardinal baseball for all those years, I really didn't realize Jocketty had assembled so many gifted, very, very talented players while still keeping the overall salary scale in check. With Albert Ignati coming through the system to supplement many of these players, the Cardinals were a powerhouse for a long, long time, in large part due to Walt Jocketty. Say goodbye to dynasties. As we approach the end of the MLB regular season, in September, the Detroit Tigers and Milwaukee Brewers sit at the top of each league. At the start of the season, as usual, the Yankees and Dodgers were considered the favorites. They spend the most money. Why not? No one expected either of these teams to be so dominant as they have been in 2025. But when you look at the statistics of each team, it's clear why they are number one. Each team did it a different way. Take a look. Milwaukee Brewers. Team stats in batting, they're number one batting average in the National League. So, of course, they're number one in most hits, number one in runs scored, number one in on-base percentage, which includes walks, number 12 in team strikeouts, so they don't strike out much, number one in stolen bases, very strong home record of 45-24, 21 games over 500. Clearly, their batting and base running are their strong parts. In pitching stats, the Brewers are number 4 in team whip, that's walks and hits per innings pitched, with a 123 mark. The number one team in that category is San Diego, 1.20, so they're 3/1000ths better. At 121 are the Cubs and Pirates. So it's very, very close to those top 4 teams being terrific pitching teams. Brewers are number 11 in National League in quality starts. Brewers are number 3 in strikeouts from their pitchers. But saving their best to last, Milwaukee's number 1 in National League team ERA, earned run average, at 3.60. And a number 2 team in saves in the NL, which means they're not blowing the leads. The Brewers staff is number 3 team in strikeouts. Ironically, the 2025 Milwaukee Brewers started the season with 4 straight losses. Starting the season. Woo. But won 7 of the next 8 games to jump over 500. Since that time, Milwaukee's had a 14-game winning streak and has 7 times won 3 games in a row with 2 other winning streaks of 4 games. Streaks like that lead to championships. Detroit Tigers, offensive stats in the American League. They're 4th in the AL in runs scored, 6th in the American League in team hits, 5th in the American League in home runs, 12th in strikeouts, which you want to be low down the mark in strikeouts, 5th in slugging percentage. Now they are surprisingly 15th, last in the league in stolen bases, and they're 4th in team runs. In the team pitching stats, Tigers are 4th in team earned run average, 6th in team saves, 7th in allowing home runs. These are out of 15 teams in the American League. 3rd in allowing walks, 6th in saves, 4th in team whip, 5th in strikeouts. Despite these not so glamorous stats, the Tigers lead the league with 15 shutouts. That's incredible. Say goodbye to mediocrity as the Detroit Tigers rely on new young stars. You probably don't recognize a lot of these names. Spencer Torkelson, Javier Baez, Zach McKinstry. They're the new players in 2025. McKinstry, who performed very poorly last year in 2024, has significantly boosted his production at the plate. And they're led by ace Tariq Skubal. Their pitching staff has been a major strength, ranking along the league's best. Say hello to another great Yankee. In the American League, it's been totally dominated by the New York Yankees. First baseman Aaron Judge on a personal level. He's actually dominated the plate like Babe Ruth did in his heyday. Well, maybe I'm stretching a little bit. Babe Ruth was really, really incredible. But Judge has been terrific also. Check out Babe's stats in 1921. He had 59 home runs, 168 RBIs, scored 177 runs, which is still, to this date, a major league record. His OPS was 1.13, on-base percentage 0.442. Now let's look at the stats for first baseman for the Yankees as he comes up with these stats. His average is .324, 43 homers, 151 hits, on-base plus slugging 1.13, on-base percentage 0.442, and his OPS, on-base plus slugging, 1.13. Now, Aaron Judge is not Babe Ruth, but without a doubt, he's producing at an unbelievable clip here in 2025. Keep following him every day. And in fairness to both these great players, the MLB game has changed a great deal since Babe Ruth wore his cleats. Say goodbye to opening day success. Deion Sanders had to say goodbye in week 1 in a different way than any of his other years as head coach. Sanders' Colorado team lost to Georgia Tech. Not Georgia, Georgia Tech, 27-20. It was the first time the head coach Sanders had ever lost the first game of the season. Haynes King faked a pitch and scampered for a 45-yard touchdown with just 1:07 left in the game, as Georgia Tech overcame a turnover-filled game to upend Colorado 27-20. Maybe Sanders should look in the mirror. Colorado had 2 timeouts left in the final drive, but he didn't use them. As a result, they drove to the 50-yard line before they were forced to attempt a Hail Mary with just 3 seconds left in the game. But the ball was batted down in the end zone. Now, clock management isn't the player's fault. However, let's give him credit for scheduling a real competitive team in week 1 of the 2025 season. Well, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you appreciate it. I really appreciate it. Your comments and reactions on any of the topics are always invited.